Visual Studio can also help you here by say introducing the field, the data service. So it should be the data service dot persons should return here. Just uncomment this part here for a second. So now I have this in dependency injection here. I want the framework to inject something here, and I have to go to the startup and into the services here and say services add. I think you can get a singleton. I want it to be a singleton. It should be the iData service. It should be implemented with a data service. So this is the container. Say whenever somebody wants an iData service, create an instance of the data service. Since the data service have a parameterless constructor, it can just create that. So there's no dependency in that. So whenever somebody needs an iData service, create one of these, but make it as a singleton. Means I only want to have one version of that. It should be living forever. So that means that now this one doesn't know anything about the data. It just know the data service that have one single property. So if we run this one, it should get the same list of persons. So now we get the persons, but the persons is from the data service and is provided and instantiated by the MVC framework. Let's see if that solves the problem or not. So this one should actually just say the data service dot persons, and this one should. Save, back to this one, reload that. So now and I can get number 3. See, if I go back here and try to post this single person here, I can do that. See, I got number 5. So I would very much like the guy to be there now. And it's there. Because now the service is instantiated outside the controller, so it's an instance of our data service that is instantiated by the framework once. And even though the controller is created again, then the data service, whenever the next controller asks for the data service, it gets the same data service because it's a singleton. So that's the. I don't know why the framework chose to create a new instance of the controller, but that's not part of our. Normally we don't care because we don't have static data in the controller as I did in the first example. Any questions? The exercises for today is, I know. So the first one is to try to do. Yeah, you don't have to specify the port here. Sorry, you don't specify the port. So it's you don't need to do that. It's pretty much what we did. It's because I think actually skip the first one. That's not important. I will just take it away because I haven't released it because I can see that it's relating to a thought I had transformed it into, because earlier on we looked at the HTML page part of MVC, but I've taken that away from the Coursera because it was just, we didn't use it. So look at this one here. So we want to do an ASP MVC application. We want to use the movie data we created early on. So we made this data service on the movie data. We have persons and movies and castings and movie info. And then we should create an interface that provide, so an interface that returns 25 movies with the title and year. Use a model. So what I mean here is using a view model is that create a new class that you can return back. So instead of returning the real object, transform it into another object and then return that. So we don't get the complete package, but only get a small part of it. That's use a view model. So use a model for the view instead of the real model. So we will talk more about that next time. And then try to solve these problems here. Extend the model, so you have to do a join in order to provide the right information. But then create another view model where you have the title and the year and the length of the movie, if you can find that in the movie info. At that, so that could be part, because that could easily be an object you can return, but that's not actually a real object in your data, because you have to join some tables in order to get that information. An interface for persons, and do this for the person. Add a new person, update a person, delete a person. Pretty much what we did here today. You should be able to add castings and get all the movies one person have participated in. So that's something like this. So I can say API person and this specific person, give me the casting for that person. Do the same for movies, where the output should be the list of persons that are participating. So that's API movies, and then the ID for the movie, and then there will be the persons that are part of that. You could even extend that further to say API movies, the specific ID, castings / role. That would be actors. So for one specific movie, you have two variables in the URL, so it can be a long one. And but we will talk more about this. But then try to do as much as you can here. Try to play around with the MVC framework. It's not that difficult. So it's pretty much taking the example I've added on the and then plug in, instead of the data service we have now, plug in the data service we worked on earlier. So you get all the movies from these CSV files into the, and then try to do something on bigger sets of data. That's the exercise. But I will upload that to the web page so you can work on that. Any questions? Is it completely nonsense or dig into it? Try it. It's not that difficult. And remember two things: Google is your friend, and the more you practice, the easier it gets. Yes. See you Monday.
We don't have nothing to do.
What? No, some of you, but in this context,
No.
see you Monday.
Okay.
Yeah. For some of you, I'll see you in a moment.